Yo guys, welcome to another video about JavaScript, whereby we'll be tackling JavaScript through the whole playlist. I've created a playlist. You can go and on the playlist tab on my channel's details. You can see I've created a JavaScript for beginners a playlist. Now we'll go on and jump in straight into code, and we'll start coding with JavaScript. Now in the last video, I showed you how you can link your HTML file with your JavaScript file in order to manipulate or use JavaScript using HTML. Now as you can see, I can do a recap. Let me delete this one. I can do this. I can type an exclamation mark and then click enter, and VS Code is intelligent enough to give me the basic boilerplate of how a HTML structure should look like. At the HTML structure, the default HTML structure should look like this. And for linking the external style sheet with my HTML, I'll go at the bottom. As I said, it is advisable to use JavaScript at the last. You should link your JavaScript file in the last. After loading all the content of your website, that's where you should link your JavaScript. Because when you link your JavaScript above or in the middle, it will make your website quite slow. Now, I said that you use the script, the script tag, then over here you will use the source. Source meaning where do you want to locate your external sheet. For me, it is in the same folder, so I go direct and write index.js. As you can see, VS Code is giving me some good snippets that I can use in order to save my time. Now I will use the index.js. Now, to test if the theory works, you can go in the index.js, then type with me, then type alert. Alert is just a function that will pop out a prompt or a message box that will show us that it has successfully linked to the HTML file. So I will write alert, and then I will write let's say hello world. Now when I want to run this file, I will run the index.html file using live server as the previous video that I show you how to install live server in VS Code in order to make our development time more easy and much fun. Now we right click, then open live server. As you can see, this pop-up message has come here, and I can see hello world. That's the purpose of the alert function. But if you don't understand functions, don't worry, we will handle the function basics in JavaScript. Don't worry, I will cover the topic much later in the playlist. Now we'll start with some basics. From some basics of JavaScript, then we'll go building our skills up, and then at the end of the playlist we'll build some projects together that will help us sharpen our skills and understand JavaScript more. Now in the index.js, we won't be going back to index.html. We'll be using this file, but index.html it's just an interface that allow us to link JavaScript and see JavaScript on our browser side. Now we'll start from a concept called I'll show you variables in JavaScript. Before we go in variables, JavaScript is a dynamically typed language. Dynamically, I mean that you don't have to state or declare variables with the types statically, For example, if you come from a C or C++ or Java background, you will notice that when we want to declare a variable, you will use the let's say the int keyword, then the name of the identifier or the name of the variable, let's say name, then you say is equals to some value. But when JavaScript is much easier, and it is dynamic, it will know dynamically that which type you are using in your variable. It uses the any data type. It is the any data type is a data type in JavaScript, a valid data type. But when you learn the basics of JavaScript and then go more and explore TypeScript. TypeScript is another language which builds on JavaScript. It's like the C++ of JavaScript. JavaScript is the C, and then the TypeScript is the C++. So TypeScript is another language that builds on top of JavaScript, that makes JavaScript more safer and more stronger in typing. From the word TypeScript, it emphasizes on types, but we won't be handling TypeScript now. That's another topic for another day. Our main focus is JavaScript. Now, let's start by declaring some variables. There are two ways of declaring variables, or three maybe. You can use the let keyword, you can use the var keyword, and then you can use the const keyword of declaring a variable. Let's start from the var. You type var. The var is a keyword in JavaScript that tells the JavaScript that we are declaring a variable. What is a variable? A variable is just a container that we will use to store data and manipulate data across the file. And from the word variables, a variable is varying. It means that this value will keep on changing. You can change it across the program. Now we'll start by writing var. Var is a keyword, and then followed by the name of the variable. The name is the identifier that will identify this variable with during development time. You can use any name, you are not restricted in using any. You can use any variable of your choice, but keep in mind that there is some rules that are followed in declaring variables. One of the rules are you should not use JavaScript keywords when declaring the name of the variable. You cannot use a name like switch. Switch is a JavaScript keyword which is restricted. You cannot use. There is another rule is you cannot space. If you want to space the name of the variable, you should use underscore. The other rules are uppercase and lowercase. Variable names are distinct, whereby when I write girl and then I declare girl with a small g, those are two different types of they are two different things that JavaScript sees. But for example, let me declare a variable called age that will store my age. For example, var age is equals to, now this is, it's in mathematics, when you are coming from a mathematical background, it's called the equal sign. But in the programming world, this is the assignment, whereby we want to assign this age to a certain value. As you can see, when I hover around the edge, it has any, whereby it means that JavaScript will assign the appropriate data type for this. So when I will write, let's say I'm 24 years old. You see now the compiler stops complaining with the red shouting underlines. Now this means we are telling the JavaScript compiler that this is the variable by using the var keyword. Then the name of the variable is age, and then we are assigning age 24. Now if you want, let me try to print this result in the console. We write console.log, Console.log means that we want to print something in the console. The console is like a command prompt in your computer, any terminal, for those who are coming from a Linux or Mac OS background. But console.log, what it does, it prints something in the terminal. Or in other words, if you're coming from other programming languages, for example in C, we call this is the equivalent of printf. It's, when you come for C++, this is cout. When you come from a background of Java, that's system.out.println. And when you're coming from Python, this is print. When you're coming from in some other languages, there are many languages, then they have different methods of printing something to the screen. Now, I will write inside the brackets console.log. This is the function that we will use to print something. Then we'll see where we'll find the console. Now I will write age. The reason the value of age, as you can see here, is 24. So what I'm expecting to be printed in the console is 24. As you can see, when I hover around the age, you see its number. JavaScript has already put in a type or placed a type for my variable. Now, to run this file, I will come here. Because I've linked this file with the HTML file, I will right click on the HTML file, index.h, then open with the live server. As you can see that there is nothing, but you can right click on your browser, then you go on the inspect, then over here you will see console. You see console here, then you click on it. As you can see, it has printed the value 24, as you can see here. Because this is the variable, I can change it. Let's say I can say it's 2246 years, which is nice and realistic. Then when I come here, you can see it has printed my number over here. This is one way of declaring a variable. The other way, then there is the other two ways I will show you. Now let me comment this. I've introduced something called, this is commenting code. Commenting code means that let's say you want to, it's a way of documenting your code. For example, you can write something here which is not JavaScript syntax, but you start with the two forward slashes, then you can write coding in JS like that. But this will be ignored by the compiler. It won't be compiled because they are comments. They are not meaningful to the compiler, but they are meaningful to the developer, whereby you want to explain or to illustrate what a code, what some part of your code is doing in the program for readability. But this is what I've commented, that you use the two double slash and it will be commented. Now, the other way of declaring a variable, you can use the let keyword. The let keyword, it came with something called ECMAScript, ECMAScript 6. ECMA is just a JavaScript standard of maintaining JavaScript code across browsers. And you might be, but it is not important, but you should know that they keep updating the language. The older syntax was using the var, which it is not obsolete. You can use it now. As you can see, it have worked. But the second, this is the newer one. Use the let keyword in declaring variable, then followed by the name of the variable, which is age. I can go again, let's say write 24. Then nothing changes. I will console.log or print the result on the screen. When I go back, you will see 24. There is no such big change. It is one of the same thing, but I want to show you multiple ways of doing this. You can see someone using let, var. It's up to you. Now, the third way of I've commented it by using a shortcut. When using, you can highlight it, then control, then forward slash. Now the third way is using the const keyword. The const keyword is a special keyword. It's unlike the var or the let. You can change something during, for example, I can come here. Let me uncomment this code. Initially I've set age by 24, but across the program I can reference the age. Then I say it is equals to 32. When I come here, you will see it has printed 32. That's a variable. You can change it during development time. But now let me show you another way. Let's say you had something that you are sure that it won't change in your program. You use the const keyword. Then after using the const keyword, you can followed by the name. For example, pi does not change. Pi, if you're coming from mathematical, everybody has done mathematics. Everybody knows pi. Pi is just 3.142. Yes, 3.142. And when I try, you will see the difference. When I try rewriting this, let's say it's 3.66. When I come here in the browser, you will see uncaught type assignment to constant variable. As you can see, it has generated an error. This means constant is a final value. You cannot change this value. When you are sure that you want to declare something that won't change across the program, you use the const keyword. Okay. The same way to print the const, you can use console.log, then the name of the constant, which is pi. When I come here, refresh, you can see it has printed 3.142. Now that's all for this video. I was trying to show you, but in the next video we'll tackle different data types in JavaScript. As you can see, we have used numbers. Let's say you wanted to use texts. You wanted to use the booleans, and let's say something to check something if it is true or false. We will handle that in the next video. But now, as you can see, I've shown you how you can first of all, to link your file, a JavaScript file, to HTML. You do the script, then the source, meaning the path of the file where you want to link, which is index.js, and then you close this one, then you open your index.js, then you start writing your JavaScript logic over here. And then when you want to run, because we have linked the JavaScript in order to see the result in the browser, we had to download the live server, then we run it by the live server. Now that's all, and if you have questions, you can leave in the comment section. I will go across them and I will answer them, and that's all. Yeah, thank you. Subscribe, like and comment for the YouTube algorithm. It's liking or it's commenting, I don't know.
Stop it. Get some help.
You do justice, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.